Today, we're diving into the wildest what-if in prehistoric versus modern animal lore, Smilodon versus the African lion. It's the battle of the beasts. One's a muscle-bound saber-toothed tank from the Ice Age, the other's a sleek, strategic king of today's savannas. Who truly deserves the crown of the supreme big cat? Is it the long-lost heavyweight champion with knives for teeth? Or the living legend who rules the grasslands with a golden mane and a killer instinct? As a wildlife nerd who grew up watching way too many nature documentaries and action movies, I couldn't resist putting these two titans in a fantasy face-off. So grab your imaginary popcorn, because this is going to be one wild ride, a claws out, teeth bared, no holds barred. Let the battle begin. Appearance and size, the muscle cat versus the model catwalk king. Let's kick things off with first impressions, because let's face it, in the animal kingdom, looks do kill, literally. Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, wasn't just a big kitty. This prehistoric powerhouse looked like it was built in a gym and fed a strict diet of protein shakes and dinosaurs. Its signature move, those enormous 8-inch 20-centimeters saber-like teeth that could make a vampire blush. That's basically the length of a kitchen knife hanging from its mouth. And the body to match. Smilodon tipped the scales at a whopping 900 to 1,000 pounds, 400 to 450 kilograms. That's the weight of a fully loaded motorcycle, plus two bodybuilders riding it. Stocky, barrel-chested, and all muscle, this beast was the four-legged version of a bodyguard who doesn't need to say a word to make you nervous. Meanwhile, the African lion plays a different game. Sleeker, faster, and way more graceful. This guy's the James Bond of big cats, refined, dangerous, and with a glorious mane that says, "Yes, I am royalty, thanks for asking." Weighing in at 500 to 600 pounds, 225 to 270 kilograms, the lion may be lighter, but he's built for speed, agility, and flair. His 4-inch canines might be modest next to Smilodon's, but don't underestimate them. They're still fully capable of taking down zebras, buffalo, or anything that looks at him the wrong way. My take, if these two strutted down a catwalk, Smilodon would probably flatten the stage with every step, raw power, thudding footsteps, jaws like a sword rack. Meanwhile, the lion would glide across like a runway model, smooth, confident, and stopping for dramatic mane flips under the spotlight. One's built like a tank, the other moves like a luxury sports car. And both would win in very different categories at the Big Cat Oscars. Habitat and time period. Are you even still alive, bro? Let's talk timelines and turf. Because what's a showdown if the contestants don't even exist in the same era, right? The African lion is very much alive and still proudly strutting his stuff across the vast plains of Africa. From the grassy savannas of Kenya to the sandy stretches of Namibia, lions today are basically the four-legged backpackers of the wild. And back in the day, these guys were real globetrotters. Lions once roamed parts of the Middle East, India, and even strolled into Europe like they owned the place. Imagine a lion chilling near the Mediterranean. Now that's a luxury safari. Still ruling the animal kingdom today, the lion is one of the last big cats standing in the modern who's who of predators. He's been king for a long time, and he knows it. Smilodon, on the other hand, punched his time card and clocked out about 10,000 years ago, right around the end of the last ice age. He called the Americas home, stretching from modern-day Canada all the way to Argentina. Snow, jungle, plains. Smilodon said yes to all climates, as long as they came with a side of giant prey. But here's the thing, Smilodon and lions never actually met. Nope, these two titans lived in completely different continents and entirely different periods. Smilodon was already extinct before lions ever packed their bags for Africa's grasslands. It's like imagining Julius Caesar challenging Elon Musk to a sword fight. Cool idea, but time travel required. My take, if these two legends had ever crossed paths, nature would have had to press the pause button and rewrite the entire Predator playbook. A lion squad on the savannah versus a saber-toothed cat with Ice Age biceps. That's not just a fight, that's a crossover episode waiting to happen. So, while lions are still out there collecting headlines, Smilodon remains a mythic memory of a time when cats came with built-in cutlery. One roams the present, one ruled the past. But both, total icons. Diet, same love for meat, different taste in the menu. Let's be real, both of our feline gladiators are hardcore meat enthusiasts. not just casual carnivores. Mind you, we're talking hypercarnivores. That means at least 70% if not more of their menu is pure, juicy, protein-packed meat. Vegetables, salads, nah, not on this menu. These boys came for the barbecue. The African lion, think of lions as the all-you-can-eat buffet champions of the savannah. They're opportunistic eaters, not picky, just hungry. Zebras, wildebeests, buffalo, warthogs, if it has legs and runs, the lion's already thinking about how to season it. And when times are tough, lions are like, fine, I'll eat a monkey, a hare, maybe even a bird if it comes too close. Basically, lions are the type to walk into a steakhouse, scan the menu, and say, surprise me, Smilodon. Now this guy had gourmet taste. Smilodon didn't chase the fast little snacks, no sir, he aimed for the big leagues. We're talking prehistoric bison that looked like bodybuilders with horns, giant ice age camels, yes, camels. Ancient rhinos the size of tanks, and even the armored Glyptotherium, which was like an armadillo crossed with a medieval knight. Smilodon said, why nibble on a drumstick when I can take down a whole roast? If you invited both to a backyard barbecue, here's how it would go. Smilodon shows up with the biggest plate he can find, piles on the ribs, a whole brisket, maybe an entire roast boar, and casually asks, any mammoth? Meanwhile, the lion. He's cruising down the buffet table like it's a racetrack, a bit of zebra here, a slice of antelope there, a little wild pig on the side, sampling everything. He's not fancy, he's just efficient. So yes, both are meat lovers, but while the lion is your eat-anything, fast-on-his-feet foodie, Smilodon is your Ice Age food critic who only goes for extra-large entrees. Either way, don't invite them over if you're low on steaks. Hunting style and behavior, tactical ninjas versus solo heavyweight. Let's talk about how these two big cats get their dinner, because their approaches couldn't be more different. One's got a game plan that would impress a military strategist, and the other fights like a heavyweight wrestler in a no-holds-barred cage match. The African lion, the tactical team player. Lions don't just run around the savannah hoping to bump into lunch. No, they plan. A lion pride is basically a furry special ops unit. Picture this, one lion creeps through the grass, silent and low. Another sneaks around the side. A third is ready to spring the ambush. It's like a nature documentary meets Mission Impossible. Speed, teamwork, precision, lions have it all. And they need it, because their prey is fast and fierce. You try taking down a full-grown buffalo with just vibes, not happening. So, they rely on coordination, timing, and a well-placed pounce. Smilodon, the solo tank with fangs. Now here comes Smilodon, the Ice Age bruiser. He didn't do sneaky, he didn't do subtle. Smilodon was built for raw power. Think of him as a prehistoric MMA fighter who skipped cardio but maxed out every strength stat. We're not sure if he hunted in packs, the science jury's still out, but what we do know is this: when Smilodon went in for the kill, he meant business. Those massive forelimbs, like bare arms, no, literally, his arms were thick and muscular, perfect for grappling. Once he tackled a big, burly bison to the ground, he'd bring in the finishing move, to sabers, straight to the throat or belly. Brutal, efficient, no escape. If lions are silent assassins, the ninjas of the animal kingdom, then Smilodon is your classic WWE-style brawler. He's not interested in stealth missions. He's coming at you head-on, body slam style, with a pair of 6-inch daggers in his mouth. One is brains and speed, the other is brawn and bite. So, next time you're watching a nature show and a lion pride takes down a wildest with perfect coordination, clap for the ninjas. And if you ever time travel and see a Smilodon leap onto a giant camel and wrestle it to the ground, well, maybe just stay in the time machine. Final showdown, one-on-one or all-out war. Alright, folks, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, the ultimate face-off. Smilodon versus African lion, two heavyweight champs from different eras, stepping into the imaginary ring. One's got power from the Ice Age, the other's got speed and tactics from the modern savannah, so, who takes the crown? One-on-one, the clash of titans. In a solo cage match, my money's on Smilodon. Why? That beast was a walking tank with saber teeth sharper than a chef's knife on cooking show finals. If he gets close, and that's a big if, he could pin a lion down with his powerhouse forelimbs and go in for the fatal bite. one solid move, and boom, fight over. The lion's agility and reflexes would make it a slippery target, sure. It's fast, smart, and no stranger to a scrap. But in a brute force battle, Smilodon's got the edge. It's like putting a medieval knight up against a skilled swordsman. The knight may be slower, but once he lands a hit, it's lights out. Team battle, tactical mayhem. Now, let's flip the script. What if it's not a duel, but a team fight? Lions, as we said, are the avengers of the animal kingdom. A lion pride is a coordinated strike force. If Smilodon is rolling solo into that party, well, he's in trouble. Even with all his muscle and those terrifying teeth, he could be outmaneuvered, outnumbered, and outmatched. And it's a big prehistoric but, what if Smilodon did hunt in packs? Science still isn't sure, but let's imagine a pride of saber-tooths charging into battle. Suddenly, the savannah's getting crowded, and the outcome is far from certain. One-on-one, give it to Smilodon. Pride versus pride. Now that's a clash for the ages. My wild conclusion: Smilodon may be the king of the past, an Ice Age icon with the jaws of doom and arms like a powerlifter. The African lion is the king of the present, swift, strategic, and still ruling the wild with confidence. If these two legends ever cross paths in some kind of prehistoric movie crossover, we'd probably need to bring in a T-Rex as a referee and hope the planet survives the rumble. So who wins? Maybe they both do, in their own times, their own ways, in the hearts of all big cat fans. Danger zone, are these cats a threat to us? Now, before you start thinking about running out into the wild to challenge a lion or a Smilodon, please don't. Let's talk about the real danger these animals pose to us humans. Because let's face it, while we're fascinated by these big cats, we've got to admit, they can be serious trouble if we find ourselves on the wrong side of their hunting instincts. African lion. Lions are big, strong, and incredibly powerful, not to mention, they live in the wilds of Africa, where they are the undisputed kings of the savannah. They generally avoid humans, but if they feel threatened or cornered, or if they are sick or starving, they may attack. And let's not forget, lions have been known to stalk human settlements in rare cases. In fact, the famous man-eaters of Tsavo in Kenya were a pair of lions that killed over 30 workers during the construction of a railway. So, while lions aren't out there actively hunting humans, it's never a good idea to get too close. Smilodon. This one's a bit more tricky since, well, Smilodons are long extinct. But back in their day, these saber-toothed cats were terrifying apex predators. With their razor-sharp teeth and powerful limbs, Smilodon would have been more than capable of taking down prey as large as mammoths. Were they a threat to humans? There's some debate about that, but if humans were in the same ecosystem, it's not hard to imagine early humans being a potential target, especially if they were unlucky enough to cross paths with a hungry Smilodon. But that's just a what-if. We can all agree that encountering a Smilodon today would be a very bad idea. The takeaway: while lions are still a threat in the wild today, so please don't try this at home or in the safari, the Smilodon is long gone, and thank goodness for that. But no matter how cute these big cats might look from behind the safety of a screen, we should always respect their power, intelligence, and wild nature. Stay safe, stay curious, and never forget that we're all just a tiny part of the great big jungle out there, should you keep a lion or Smilodon as a pet. Spoiler: definitely not. Okay, let's get real for a second. As much as we all love big cats, who doesn't want a majestic lion or a fearsome Smilodon hanging out in the living room, right? The reality of having one of these powerful creatures as a pet is, well, let's just say it's not a great idea. Lions as pets. While lions are undoubtedly magnificent creatures, they're not exactly the type of animal you want to cuddle with on your couch. Lions are wild animals, and keeping them as pets comes with serious risks. They may look cute when they're little cubs, but as they grow into powerful adults, they can become unpredictable. Lions have instincts that are finely tuned for survival in the wild, not for snuggling on a Sunday afternoon. In addition, lions require vast amounts of space to roam, and they need a diet that is way more complicated than a bowl of kibble. They also have a social structure and need to interact with other lions, not just humans. Keeping one in a small enclosure or isolated from other lions is not only cruel, but it can also be dangerous for both the lion and the human, As if that wasn't enough, lions can weigh up to 500 pounds, and one wrong move from a lion can lead to serious injury or worse. Remember, these are apex predators, not house pets. Smilodon as a pet. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if Smilodons were still around? Well, let's put that out of our minds, because thankfully they're not. But if they were, keeping a Smilodon as a pet would be a whole other level of no-no. These creatures were built like giant muscle machines, with those terrifying saber teeth and claws capable of crushing through bone. Even if you were brave enough or crazy enough to think about bringing one into your home, the size, power, and predatory instincts of a Smilodon would make them incredibly dangerous. Plus, just imagine feeding a Smilodon. It would require an entire herd of deer, bison, or, well, anything it could sink its teeth into for lunch. Not exactly your standard pet food budget. The verdict, so, should you keep a lion or a Smilodon as a pet? Let's be honest, no. The risks, the space requirements, and the sheer danger of keeping such a powerful predator make it a terrible idea. These animals are meant to roam the wild, not live in a cage or an apartment. Plus, it's really not fair to the animals either. They deserve to be in their natural habitat, thriving as the magnificent creatures they are. While the idea of having a lion or Smilodon as a pet might sound cool in theory, it's far safer for both you and the animals to admire them from a distance, like at a wildlife sanctuary or in the wild safely from your car, of course. So, let's stick to loving them from afar and leave the wild at home in its natural environment. Enjoy the showdown between Smilodon and the lion. If you're loving these wild adventures and epic animal battles, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of animal lovers. Every week, we bring you more thrilling animal facts, awesome comparisons, and a whole lot of fun. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. So, subscribe now and let's keep the wild side of life roaring.